everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean Live Radio Show, featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Sanders,
also known as Ginny Almighty,
who joins Dr. Dean on tonight's program. Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. And we'll be taking your calls from around the world and right here in the USA.
Welcome, everyone, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com this wonderful Monday, February 24, 2020. I'm sure this is at least 15 or 20 years that Carolyn and I have been doing this radio show together. No, I'm just kidding. But I think this is our 8th year of doing the show, and we're just always so pleased to meet and greet all the new listeners that join us every single week as people pile on the show from around the world to hear what Dr. Dean has to say. And it's a really good thing that you are here this evening, and we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. And one thing that we know that you will experience during the course of this broadcast is a definite improvement and increase in your joy and your palpable knowing and your high-ended awareness that your body can do miraculous things if you give it the proper building blocks and you support the intelligence of the body by responding to its impulses. And that's what Dr. Dean's an expert on. She's been doing it for 40 years, having graduated from medical school in Canada and been established here in the United States as a medical doctor for many years, also a naturopath, an herbalist, an acupuncturist, and such a myriad of credentials that she has. As a matter of fact, I just posted her revised, what did they call it? It's some fancy Latin word, a curriculum vitae or something like that anyway, basically all of her accomplishments. And it was so heavy, if I had to have printed it off, it would have been the size of an entire ream of paper, ladies and gentlemen. The woman is so accomplished, and it's so hilarious because even if you look on our new capstone.com website, you'll see her vision is extraordinary for the world and what she sees as possible for human health and also all biological life, working with all kinds of plants and water and everything. I mean, there's just no end to her ability. But today, you're here because you want to learn about yourself. You want to learn about what you can count on, what you can rely on, what you can expect your body will do for you as you feed it, nourish it, take care of it, and love it properly. And that's what she's going to talk about this evening on her show. I want to let you know that we have a chat line here at AchieveRadio.com, and you can go into that chat line and type in your name as subscribe in a new way to our chat line. We had to put a new one in because the old one got hacked. But this one is fun because it's got little animations and things like that, and it's just really super fun to play on. So feel free to jump in that way. And then also you can definitely join us through our InQuick messaging. And for those of you who are listening to the archive in any way through downloading, through our podcasting that we do on iTunes and Stitcher and other places where you can find us, you can email your questions, questions at drcarolyndeanlive.com. Dr. Dean reviews those along with her staff and makes all kinds of wonderful suggestions and recommendations off air. So again, no end to her generosity. But honestly, I don't know many doctors who sit on the radio for 2 hours a week and pour out of the wisdom and the full counsel of their experience on the public so generously and so freely with such a sincere desire to see people's health and their well-being elevated through just really common sense basic things that are easy to grasp, things that are safe solutions, things that are practical, and allow you to really accelerate and grow. So before we delay any longer, I do also want to remind everybody this is a call-in radio show. Well, we do love for you to call in. Yes, that's a thing. Call in, 602-666-6027. Pick up that phone. Get on the line with Dr. Dean. absolutely a joy to speak to her, and she's sincere and wonderful with every single person who calls in. Well, she's sincere and wonderful all the time anyway. So anyway, let's see. I don't think we have any further announcements, so we shall make the sound of all the children squealing with glee in their youthful exuberance of the thought of sitting at the feet of Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours. And here she is.
And here she is. Thank you, Ginny. Once again, a wonderful introduction to our awesome show. We'll just remind our listeners that the worst is over. You're here now, and you should know that every day and every way you will get better and better. And I start out our shows with giving some recommendations of how to increase your activity in our midst. We would like you to refer your practitioners. Ask yourself the question, what if your doctor knew about REMAG years ago? If your doctor knew about REMAG years ago, he or she would help thousands of people. And with our practitioner referral, our most recent referral is from Roseanne in Charlotte, who sent us the name of her doctor. We sent her doctor a practitioner kit, and he placed an order within 2 days. So this is a shout-out to Roseanne and acknowledgement of how the practitioner referral program works. So you can be a hero. You can be a hero in your own community by doing this. Our referral candy is still in effect, where you and the person you refer get a 15% discount on any amount of an order to our RNAreset.com. Our magnesium deficiency survey is still up on our website, the RNAreset.com. We've got over 15,000 people answering our questions about magnesium deficiency symptoms. This survey propels our work because people just can't imagine these statistics. With the question, do you experience anxiety, we get a yes answer from 65% of responders. Insomnia, 63.2%. Muscle cramps, 51%. Heart palpitations, 47.4%. Restless legs, 41.8%. Headaches or migraines, 30%. It's astounding. I mean, if you look into a group of people, you see 100 people, 65% of those have anxiety. And they want help, and they don't necessarily want Xanax or another addictive benzodiazepine anti-anxiety medication. Before we get to today's blog, which actually kind of rolls in quite nicely to my last weekend experience, the weekend of Valentine's Day. So I was in Chicago, February 13, 14, 15, 16, at the NBA All-Star Weekend. And I was invited there by one of our wonderful customers and a friend, Jack McClinton. He's a former NBA basketball player. His website is Active Dreamers. He's very involved with supporting children in their aspirations to become the best they can be. And when Jack told me that the NBA executive had decided that every team should have 2 mental health professionals on staff, Jack really wanted his friends, his former teammates, to understand that mental health may be related to the nutrients that their brains were getting. So he invited me over to this panel. It was awesome. I mean, I just had such a blast. On Valentine's Day, I was sitting courtside with Jack and Jermaine, his partner, and Carlos Boozer. Carlos is 6.9 feet. I mean, he would come to hug me, and I would just walk under his arm. I mean, it's so bizarre. So Carlos was holding court. We were courtside. We were at this, high table in our high chairs, and everybody would come by and give Carlos a hug. These are the huggiest people in the world. Everybody was hugging everybody. And then when I spoke about mental health, this was put on in part by the shoe surgeon, Damien. Now I have to look up Damien's first name because they just call him the shoe surgeon, and he described his terrible experience in his young life of being manic depressive, and that he's always wanted to support mental health expose, research, whatever it takes to help people, and he was absolutely interested. We had a meeting even before the panel where he wanted to get my take on mental health, and of course I focused on magnesium. If 65% of the population is anxious, and as we know from our customers, you take the Remag and you're no longer anxious, then we call it a magnesium deficiency. So yes, you can Google Dominic Chambrone, the shoe surgeon. Now this is crazy. He makes individual sneakers for I guess mostly NBA players because they cost $4,000. I mean, this is a very rich demographic. And why I'm interested in the players, and yes, they need their magnesium, but the only way to reach the young people today is through celebrities. And these athletes are celebrities. Young people follow these celebrities. And I'm interested in whether or not a message from their heroes about mental health and magnesium, etc., can occur. Will we be able to reach the young people and the athletes from this type of association and interaction? So it was it was fascinating. I had such a great time. Ginny was supposed to come, but she was moving everything into the new warehouse, which we call the Mountain. So Ginny, what do you think about my experience? And I'm sorry you weren't there.
I'm sorry too. I agree. Anything on all counts. I do think it's interesting that the tennis shoes are such a big part of that culture, so I can see why that would be popular. But the most important thing is the young people, because we do want to stave off the inevitable what we're seeing, and young people need magnesium as much as anybody. I mean, they have the same level of anxiety. They have different syndromes in their health. They have different challenges in their lifestyle. But for sure, we'd like to see them benefit and prosper. And, of course, the athletes do. They have those, with getting through to the athletes, you got to get through that huge bureaucracy of trainers and team doctors that want to control their protocols and tell them what to do.
Yeah,
but I agree with those young people that it's a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
And, of course, I know you were in there in your wonderful dynamic self, representing all 4'11" of yourself with all those seven foot tall people. I can't even imagine. That must have just been hilarious.
Oh, I would just, I'd meet them, and then I'd just start laughing because I was looking up at these mountains, and they were just beautiful, just so happy and smiley. They have a good time. They do. But then, when I would get serious with someone, when Carlos would say, well, talk to so-and-so if you don't mind, and then you'd find out how they were suffering. And they don't have to, because the athletic lifespan of these guys is only like 10, 15 years, because they are so hard on their bodies. They sweat out their minerals, and they don't replace them. So there's something, very positive that could happen here. So we'll see. I mean, Ginny and I are doing a million things and having a million positive experiences, and we're just having a great time. We just want to reach out to as many people as possible. And Ginny, I guess maybe because of the mental health panel in Chicago, she made this blog of today. That's at drcarolyndeanlive.com. She calls it Brain Drain, Preventing Magnesium Deficiency in the Brain, taking excerpts from various blogs or my book. Ginny's put together what looks like just an incredible list of the ways magnesium deficiency can affect us, and just around the brain. And I'll read through some of this. You can follow it, as I said, at drcarolyndeanlive.com. And she says, increasing magnesium intake may be a valid strategy to enhance cognitive abilities. This comes on the heels of much research and speculation that inadequate levels of magnesium could impair cognitive function, leading to faster deterioration of memory in aging humans. And then we look at the various excerpts from the Magnesium Miracle 2017 edition, which everybody should have, and which I gave out at this event. Everybody was really excited to receive the books and some Remag and some Realign, because these people drink. And I'm not going to tell them not to drink. I'm going to tell them to take Realign, because Realign helps metabolize the alcohol. If you don't metabolize your alcohol, it affects your brain and your brain function, your coordination, for Pete's sakes. So anyway, that was a sidebar. The excerpts start with
but it's an important sidebar, because a lot of people drink alcohol and they feel bad about it. And Realign is the way to have your drink and drink it too. Like have your cake and eat it too. Well, have your cocktail and drink it too. I mean, Realign's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had people. Who was the person who had a breathalyzer? And she did a before and after, drank a few drinks, gave herself 2 or 3 capsules of Realign, and her breathalyzer didn't budge. So you're not going to get crazy drunk and get into trouble if you make sure you take your Realign with your alcohol.
Yes, and my best friend Nikki, who I talk about notoriously on the show, if she ever heard it, she'd probably she wouldn't be upset. But anyway, they refuse to even take Realign on their all-inclusive alcohol vacations anymore, because she's like, it kills the buzz. It kills my buzz. She doesn't want to take it, because she's like, you have to drink so 3 times more. And it's true. You have to drink more if you take Realign before you start drinking. So it's great for you, but it's really fun too to be able to have that in your back pocket.
Right. Yes, heaven forbid if you can't get that Uber and you have to drive home, you want to metabolize your alcohol. So there's great. Stroke, brain trauma, diuretics drying out the brain, aging, memory, fear, treating your telomeres, and that's the aging factor, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. There's this whole list of ways that magnesium can help these conditions, and vice versa, magnesium deficiency can create these conditions. Although we're not allowed to say that, we're not allowed to say magnesium treats any condition. What magnesium does is it treats magnesium deficiency. But we've got the studies with stroke, for example. The U.S. population deficient in magnesium is at greater risk for stroke with severe post-stroke complications. There can be poor recovery from head injury and escalating neurological damage. Lack of magnesium can enhance neurotoxin damage from vast numbers of chemicals in our air, food, and water. Brain trauma, they've done studies with TBI, traumatic brain injury, showing that intravenous magnesium will help reverse the effects. Diuretics, drying out the brain. Yes, when you take a diuretic, you lose your minerals. And with people who've had symptoms of severe weakness, and in this one case we report on an overt psychosis due to diuretics, like squeezing all the liquid out of your body, and following large IV doses of magnesium, this patient's symptoms disappeared within 24 hours. Aging is huge, of course, our aging baby boomer population. And what we know with magnesium is that aging body tissues have 3 times more calcium than magnesium. Calcium precipitates out into tissues that are deficient in magnesium. And the toxicity of excess calcium in the testicles, brain, and other tissues, this was research done almost a century ago in France. It shows that calcification of these tissues plays a role in senility. I mean, you can imagine if you've got too much calcium, which is not properly dissolved by magnesium, and that calcium builds up in your brain, then you're going to have brain issues. Memory, important research done on memory, mostly, I think this is mostly animal studies, fear, animal studies again. There's one study that just drives me crazy. Mice were given a magnesium-deficient diet, made anxious, irritable, scratching at each other, rah, 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 and then instead of treating them with magnesium to prove that magnesium could help anxiety, they treated them with Xanax and said, yes, we can treat magnesium deficiency with Xanax. I mean, it's very frustrating. Telomeres, this is huge in the whole anti-aging world. Telomeres are the caps at the end of chromosomes that protect them from unraveling or getting attached to another chromosome and creating abnormal genes. The current research on aging is firmly tied up with telomeres. It should come as no surprise that magnesium is tightly wrapped up with the anti-aging research in the people who are doing magnesium research, and then most of this information doesn't get to the public, and that's why we go on, and I write thousands and tens of thousands of words, and we do our radio show to educate people. Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. There's evidence that magnesium deficiency can trigger or worsen Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. These are the neurological equivalent of heart disease. Both heart and brain are excitable tissues that give off electrical energy, and both must have magnesium. So for maintaining plasticity of synapses, an adequate magnesium level is imperative. The whole plasticity of the brain is that it can make new connections. You lose one, then you build up more, and magnesium makes that happen. Magnesium is required for hundreds of enzyme functions within brain cells that control memory and cellular function. Now, in determining magnesium deficiency levels, we kind of hit a brick wall at a certain point. The serum magnesium level is inaccurate. You just can't use it because serum magnesium will also always be in a certain very tight, narrow range because it's necessary to keep serum magnesium at a certain tight, narrow range to keep the heart functioning. So if the serum magnesium starts to drop, immediately biofeedback mechanisms work to push magnesium out of your muscles or bones. So serum magnesium level just doesn't do much. It doesn't tell you if you're high or low. It always seems to be normal, to the point that doctors just don't test for magnesium. You can just go grab your latest blood electrolyte tests, and you'll see magnesium is not even listed. Yet I'm here telling you that magnesium is essential for heart function. So we've told people over the years to get RBC testing, and that's been useful. But what we're doing now, we're in the midst of a grassroots health research project which provides an in-home test kit, and it tests for a whole blood magnesium, which may be more accurate than RBC. It's not the perfect test, which is ionized magnesium, but it does have a certain accuracy, especially when the tests are all done by one lab. When I would tell people to get the RBC magnesium test, they could go to 1,000 different labs, and you're not sure of the ranges and even the standardization of the magnesium test. So with this grassroots health research project, and I'm going to get Ginny to describe it a little more as soon as I've finished, we're testing for whole blood magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, which are very important for the brain, vitamin D, which is important for the brain, and TSH, important for the brain too, and that's your thyroid indicator. And we know from people taking Remag, we want to know if you're taking enough, and therefore we want to measure your whole blood magnesium. We're recommending the Blue Ice Royal for your omega-3s and the Restructure, which has 600 milligrams of omega-3s. Are you taking enough of those? And the vitamin D, we don't recommend vitamin D except what's in Blue Ice Royal and telling you to get sunshine. So are you getting enough vitamin D? So we found this test kit you can do at home. It's sent out to one lab, ZRT lab, so it's all within the same testing standardization. So we're excited about this because we always want to fine-tune what you're taking to make sure we're covering everything and covering your health. And Jenny set up this wonderful product discount that goes along with the testing. So I'll let Jenny take over now.
Okay, very good. I just want to let everybody know, and we've been working out all the bugs and kinks. We've been at this for a while. We started in last October, and just to let everybody know, to confirm, the product discount, a couple of things. If you're trying to consider coming into the project and you want to know a few more details, what I'd like to share with you is that, number one, your product discounts begin when you actually get your blood test results into the lab. So you send your blood test into the lab, they get it, they turn around, send it to Grassroots Health, and the minute they receive those, they're sending out your product discounts. Now, that may not be what happened for everybody from the very beginning, so I apologize if that didn't happen for you, but as we've worked out the bugs, that's what we've determined is the best way to do this. Your product discounts are coupons that come out every month, and you get those on a 30-day cycle, and I think we've got the bugs worked out of that. The product discounts apply to specific products, and those are because they're the products that we want you to use during the course of the research project, because this is research on magnesium, TSH, which explains the Remite, vitamin D, and the omegas, which explains the Blue Ice Royal. So we want to support you in making sure that you have the right nutrients so that we can make sure that you do see this marked improvement. And the other thing that's been confusing is that there is a weekly tracker, because this is it's a research project, and we want you to get the benefit of seeing how your body is changing every week. And a lot of times what happens is in customer service, and we learned this from the beginning, is you'll take magnesium because, say, you have a specific thing, like my blood pressure. I want my blood pressure to come down. So you start using the Remag, and then, 3 weeks later, my blood pressure hasn't come down. They call into customer service. I'm not getting any results with this. So then we say, well, are you sleeping better? Well, yes. Well, are you moving better? Well, yes. So your body is definitely taking it up. it's definitely improving. And it may not address the condition that you're obsessed with, but your body knows how to apply the magnesium and how to relieve your body of its own stress. And so if you do a weekly tracker, you're going to get the benefit of sitting down every week and going, what's changed? What's better? What has improved? And that is going to give you the benefit and the confidence of seeing how these products are working and knowing that your body is responding to you, because a lot of times people don't even know how to pay attention to their bodies. So it's a multifaceted process that we're doing with everybody. We want you to fill out those weekly trackers. It's not as complicated as the initial intake questionnaire. It's optional on answering a lot of the questions, but it is going to cause you to take time for that thoughtful pause and reflection and say, okay, what's going on? And over the course of those 6 months, you're going to see dramatic improvements, because our products dramatically improve people's health performance. There's just no other way around it. And that's what we want people to have the experience of knowing and seeing and being able to prove and validate through this testing process. So hopefully customer service is equipped with a lot of FAQs. If you don't feel like you're getting the results or the support you need, you've got to contact customer service. But this should be a really great experience for everybody who's participating. And we're very, very appreciative for all the people who have given us the feedback and are participating and are supporting this project, because it's very exciting, and it's getting ready to roll out nationally. It's going to be infused with even more attention and more participation, and we're just really, really excited to be able to bring this to our customers. Very, very empowering for people.
Excellent. Excellent. And yes, if, like Ginny says, if you have a question, get in touch with us. Periodically, we hear from people who say, well, you know, I had a problem 2 months ago. I wish you were here. And it's like, we're always here. So just let us know. We're not a doctor's office, so we're not going to put you on hold. We're not going to make you wait a month for an appointment. We are always available to answer questions about our products. Okay, so what Ginny brought up when she was mentioning yesterday that she was going to do this mental health or brain and magnesium blog, she talked about the vitamin D aspect of brain health and had a link with Medical News Today. And what's interesting here is that the Grassroots Health Research Project was started by Carol Baggerly. We had Carol on, I think it was October 28th, Jenny will check for me, October 28th, 2019, to talk about the project. So if you want to know more, you can go there. And Carol had breast cancer while she did the medical treatment, but then she was looking for alternatives, and she found out from a holistic practitioner that her vitamin D levels were rock bottom. So she began looking at the research on vitamin D, only to find out that it's related to vitamin D deficiencies related to cancer and a whole host of other conditions. So this led to the her huge project, which, I mean, she's to be congratulated for creating research that you do as an individual, you know, public research leading to clinical results, and doing this type of testing that your doctors may not even do for you, and matching it with thousands of other people that are doing these tests and giving us averages. That's why you're doing the weekly questionnaires. So what's happened with vitamin D and what drew her to our work with magnesium, actually Dr. Mercola recommended she talk to me about magnesium, because as many of you know, vitamin D is metabolized into its active form by magnesium. So I began noticing the whole vitamin D research and recommendation when people were given massive doses of vitamin D. I'm talking the 50,000 units, where I've been saying 1,000 or 2,000 units. They were given 50,000. Now let me just sidebar here and say that I'm increasing my recommendations for people who test low. I tested low on vitamin D in the Grassroots Health Home Kit, and I'm increasing to 5,000 units. I'll redo my vitamin D levels in a couple of months and see where I'm going. But I must say, taking the extra vitamin D has not changed my health. It has not improved it. Like, when I first started taking Remag and my heart palpitations went away. So I thought that was interesting. But you'll hear a lot about vitamin D. It may have hit its peak, and now people are saying, well, maybe it's not that good. But what we say, it's the synergism of all these nutrients that is important. For example, will we find out in this research project that the folks who have high levels of magnesium, which I did, and not so great looking levels of vitamin D, that they're fine, because what vitamin D they're getting is being metabolized quite nicely by their magnesium, and they don't have vitamin D deficiency symptoms. So this is what we have to find out. Nobody else is going to do this. You will not find a government study to do this. I mean, we're doing our research at the university level, and I can tell you it is like herding cats and pulling teeth and all the metaphors you want to say. They don't behave like Ginny and I, where we get an idea and it's done. So what we're doing with Grassroots Health is we've got an idea and we're doing it, and we want you folks to participate. So this whole thing about vitamin D, Ginny, if you want to, you can put the Medical News Today link out. I have it right here if you don't have it, so that people can look at the research. But see, what does happen with people who read about one nutrient, what happens with scientists who just study one nutrient, you get into this terrible position, and I say this every once in a while, that the scientist rigorously defends his or her right to be ignorant of almost everything except their own specialty. So when you're testing vitamin D, when all you have is a hammer and everything then looks like a nail. So they can find out that vitamin D affects everything, but it doesn't work on its own. As I find out, if you use high-dose vitamin D, you're going to get yourself into magnesium deficiency symptoms. People were coming to me or emailing me with 6 weeks of migraines or heart palpitations coming back, all their magnesium deficiency symptoms coming to the fore. So balance, balance, balance is what we're trying to achieve with giving people the right amounts of nutrients. And one of the big things we find with our customers is they'll feel, a certain amount better with their 1 teaspoon a day of Remag, and then start saying, well, this isn't right and that's not right. I thought Remag was going to cure me. And basically 1 teaspoon of Remag is below the RDA. People who have layers of symptoms for decades, they may need 2, 3, and even 4 teaspoons a day. I needed the 4 teaspoons. And you're not going to just treat Remag as your drug of choice. You have to look at your other minerals, and that's Remite. You have to look at your B vitamins, and that's our Realign. And your detoxification, that's Realign. So there's this whole, little package of nutrients that we work with. We are not a website that has 100 products and gives you all kinds of fanatic emails that you must have every one of these products or you'll soon die. What we're creating is a synergistic protocol that we want to fine-tune dosage-wise so that you get the best results. If 1 teaspoon of Remag doesn't work, people will go out and buy 6 other nutrients and pump them and think that that's going to work, whereas they haven't even become saturated with their Remag. Just a couple of Ginny, I'll stop here to see if you have any interjection, and then I'll just quick do the 4 or 5 blog questions.
Okay, I just want to acknowledge the callers who are waiting that we do know you're there, and we will pick up your calls as soon as we wrap up this segment. So go ahead, Carolyn.
Thank you. Someone says about IV magnesium for head injury. And we do have in Ginny's blog, they talk about magnesium sulfate. But you can just as easily use magnesium chloride, which is the Remag. And we know from our customers that our magnesium chloride Remag works even better than intravenous magnesium. So yes, that's the magnesium of choice. And it does that, it works that well because it is a stabilized ion of magnesium at the picometer size that's fully absorbed into the cells where it works. Someone says, I've been taking Remag for many months. Now I'm taking Remite and Recalcia. I suffered a very bad accident with severe TBI, traumatic brain injury. My skull was fractured in many places. The right transverse sinus vein was crushed, and now after 10 months, it is still not functioning. Neurosurgeons say that surgery is far too dangerous. I have many after effects from the accident. How much magnesium should I take, and will it benefit the effects of total body injury? So this person, Aileen, is taking Remite, Remag, and the Recalcia. Personally, I would be working with a homeopath. Ginny will look up the name and the website of the homeopath we refer to. We use her homeopathic kit. This type of injury requires something like arnica to get at the original injury and conflict, all the bone effects and the vein effect. They perhaps would be affected by certain homeopathic remedies. I don't know which ones, but certainly Remag, Remite will be very helpful in removing calcification that tends to build up in scar tissue that can affect a person's healing. I would also be using the RNA reset drops because they help the RNA make the DNA blueprint for our cells more perfect. So to get back the cells, get that vein working, to me that's RNA reset drops and realign as a detoxifier. So that's what I would do. Next question. My husband was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. I've learned that magnesium threonate crosses the blood-brain barrier. Consequently, I've switched from your Remag to that. I'm very confused and certainly want to do the right thing for him. Can you help by explaining the truth about this? Yes, indeed. So my FAQ that we do send out about this, Kathy, is that every week I'm asked about this magnesium threonate product, Magtein. Threonate is a sugar bound to magnesium. January 2010, the journal Neuron published a paper titled Enhancement of Learning and Memory by Elevating Brain Magnesium. This was a study done on rats, and researchers said that, quote, our findings suggest that an increase in brain magnesium enhances both short-term synaptic facilitation and long-term potentiation and improves learning and memory functions. The study compared several forms of magnesium for absorption into the cerebral spinal fluid and found that this Magtein measured 7% higher than the other magnesiums at day 24. So based on this 7% higher, they just blasted the media, with threonate being the only magnesium that can get into your brain. And this is truly inaccurate. It's giving superpowers to their product and obscures the reality that any magnesium can produce some or all of these same effects. And you can see that in the book, the free book that's online called Magnesium in the Central Nervous System. It's got 24 chapters on the brain, showing that all different forms of magnesium, how the positive effects on the brain. And certainly when I tried magnesium threonate, it caused a laxative effect. So for me, it's not being absorbed. You want something that does not cause a laxative effect, is absorbed at the cellular level. Someone is asking about Parkinson's disease. I had this disease for 5 years, been taking magnesium and also restructure, interested in testing, participating in the study. I've also been taking Remite and Pico Silver. How can we obtain the tests and participate? So hopefully that question was answered in the previous kind of monologue and the dialogue with me and Ginny about how to do that. If you have more questions, just send back to support@rnareset.com. And there we have it, Ginny.
Okay, very good. Excellent, excellent. All righty, let's see how we can do with our phone callers this night. Thank you for calling, 602-666-6027. We'll take your call in the order in which they came in. And from the great state of North Carolina, we'll go to area code 910. 910, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Brad Freeman.
I heard Freeman. What's your first name?
Brad, B-R-A-D.
No, I have a bad
Brad
connection.
Freeman.
I'm sorry.
It's Brad. Brad, have you called in before? Brad Freeman?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Brad, I got you now. I turned up my hearing aid. Go ahead.
So I was, being that the magnesium is 100% absorbed at the cellular level, I was wondering, like, why would it take, a while to be saturated if it's being absorbed, 100%?
Yeah, I'm missing half your words, Brad. Ginny, are you hearing Brad?
Yep, I can hear him just fine. What he basically said, and it's a good question, Brad, is if it's being absorbed at 100%, how come it takes so long to get saturated?
Oh, man, you're using that stuff up so quickly. You're dissolving your calcium. You're building up the levels in 1,000 different enzyme systems. You're dealing with everyday stuff plus past stuff. I'm a healthy person. It took me a year and a half. So it's, it's not as easy as, like you say, why doesn't it just build up? You're blowing it off just as fast as you're building it up in some cases. See what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So what I need
how are you doing on your protocol?
I'm moving along pretty decent. I still get like real bad muscle twitches throughout the day. And I was gonna ask, will I need to add the Remite into my, daily routine or regimen with the Remag? Would that help?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It will help. When I was taking 4 teaspoons of Remag and then I put together the Remite product, within a couple of weeks of taking the Remite, I was able to cut back to 3 teaspoons of Remag. So what I figured was happening, Brad, is some of my other mineral deficiencies, those symptoms, I was trying to medicate them with the Remag. But when I got the Remite going, I didn't need as much Remag. It's quite interesting. So, yeah, that's going to help.
Oh, okay, yeah, I definitely do that. One last question. So what about, if my blood pressure is normal and, I up the doses on my Remag, will it cause it to drop? I see a drop in my blood pressure?
No, it doesn't work like that. It just creates a balance of your blood pressure. Like once your blood pressure is balanced out, which means the muscles in your blood vessels are no longer tight. When those muscles are properly relaxed, then the magnesium will go off and do something else. But it's not going to act like a drug and drop your blood pressure.
Okay, I got that. Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, we good?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate your time.
Oh, and look, anytime. You just call in. Okay, Brad, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yes, you take care.
Okay.
Yes, and I always like to recommend to people, Carolyn, if you're having problems with your muscles, just throw it straight on your muscles. Pour it right out the bottle and just stick it right on your muscles. It's not a problem because it will work as well topically as it does orally. So, okay, let's go to area code, the great state of California, area code 916. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes, my name is Mary Ann, and this is the second time I've called in about in the last few months. So here's my problem. I had a very debilitating meltdown in 2013 with many issues, including hormone dysregulation, over 35 years of insomnia, anxiety, and brain hyperexcitability, a terrible case of gut dysbiosis, YOS, quite significantly. I'm very sensitive to the products, but I'm very, very, very pleased and very happy to have the products. My question is this, is how do I very, very carefully get started on liquid Remag, and in order to help me with many things, in particular, to help me to begin to get good restorative sleep for the first time in my entire adult life.
So, Marianne, have you started any of the products yet?
I have. I spoke to you about 3 months ago. I started with Remag lotion. I couldn't tolerate it. I had anxiety from it. I bought a spritzer bottle. Your advice at that time was to just put 1 drop in 6 ounces of water and put a drop on my skin. Various things took place that never happened at that time. But what I did on the advice of customer service is I went out and I bought a very nice little spritzer container. And I put 1 drop in 6 ounces of water, and then I filled, I put a half an ounce of that water into my spritzer. And the times that I have used it, I have sprayed it on me.
And?
It's hard for me to give you a real clear picture of what my tolerance is at this point. One of the things that happened during the last 4 months is that on my own accord, and it wasn't good on my part to do this, I stopped doing my methyl B12 vitamin shots. And so 4 months ago, I did that 4 months ago, so about 3 weeks ago, I went into just a horrific episode of anxiety that just became unbearable. And I've got that calmed down now just by the use of sublingual B12 and a few other items that prayer and talking to friends and whatnot. And I will be starting the B12 shots again this Wednesday. And in the meantime, the doctor switched it from methyl cobalamin to hydroxycobalamin in order to deal with the brain hyperexcitability. Even though I really can't say that I noticed that methyl created any more problem that way, but in talking to him about it, that's what he decided to do. So it might be that time frame in which I was trying the Remag, it might be that being without the B12 shots may have enabled me to be more, be more sensitive to the lotion or to the liquid. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, you're in a very difficult position where it's like your body is an experiment, and everything you do, you have to try to gauge it. It is hard when you shift a couple of things at the same time, but basically you have it right. You just take as diluted an amount of Remag as you can and start working with it and increasing it, because everybody needs magnesium. It's just a matter of balancing out, taking it to get benefits and not taking so much that it starts to detoxify. That's the side effect of a person who's in, total body meltdown with a lot of toxicity. Your body's trying to get rid of this stuff, and any nutrient you take will just activate your detoxification. We're at the top of the hour, so hang on, Marianne.
Okay.
Right after this brief station break.
You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
What city plays?
The old categories. They don't apply anymore. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
What city plays?
We're well beyond the categories for men and women right now. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
I do advocate immediate fast to bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
AchieveRadio.com.
We return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast at 602-666-6027. At 602-666-6027.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. So glad you've joined us this Monday evening or through the archives, wherever you're listening. We're just glad you're here and happy to be in service to you tonight. This caller, Mary from California, on the line with Dr. Dean, coming back in hour 2 to resume their conversation. Go ahead, please, ladies.
Right.
Okay,
Yes, all I'm able to do on this call here, I thought it was Marianne, so I'm sorry if it's just Mary, is just reinforce.
It's Marianne.
Okay,
it is Marianne.
Right, to reinforce that you're in the right place, the worst is over. We just have to encourage you to take the Remag slowly, a drop at a time. We have had many of our customers who've said this. Lisa was on the show a while back saying she started with a drop in a liter of water, and she's taking it orally, and she finally got up to her 3 teaspoons a day. So it is possible if you can just stay positive in your experiment.
Oh, definitely. I can. I've already experienced some positive things with all of this. I told customer service. I started through the doctor. I started a GI synergy for the gut, for gut dysbiosis. Mm-hmm. I had to break that down into very small doses, just like I do with the Remag. But after 3 very small doses, I told the doctor, I feel like Marianne is coming back. I'm able to walk further able to walk further distances and do it more often, which is a huge victory for me. So, and I've been doing a dab, just one little droplet of the Pico Silver into my nose at night, and I'm finding that to be helpful. But I don't do it every night. I just like you said, I kind of experiment with myself, and I say, well, tonight, what should I do? Should I do the GI synergy? So I know that these products can help me, and I've already experienced some of that. I guess I just want it in black and white. Do I use the spray on me? Do I use the drop, or would I put a drop in a liter of water like that other lady did?
Well, what I would say, Marianne, if your gut is a little bit better, maybe you're ready for the drop in the liter of water, and see how that goes. And if you feel stirred up with it, try to say to yourself, okay, I'm detoxifying a little bit. I'll do it on a day when I can really rest, and I'll just let my body experience it. Because if you keep in your mind the importance of magnesium and can put up with some more contrast, because I know your days are filled with contrast and you don't want to experience more. But if you can look at the contrast as being, okay, I'm dumping, I'm detoxifying, that's good contrast. So, it's getting your mind on board with what you're doing, that the worst is over and you're in charge.
Yeah, okay. So maybe I'll just work on the gut a little bit longer, give it more time, and then I'll go to 1 drop in a liter of water.
Right, perfect. Okay, my dear, Are we good? We're good for now?
Yeah. Just one little thing here. When I go to the 1 drop in a liter of water, I'll be tempted to try that daily, and I guess I'll just have to play it by ear like I am doing and see if it works.
Right, yeah, maybe if you just do it one day and then day 2 observe, and then day 3 do a drop, and day 4 observe. That's probably the best thing.
Okay. All right. Every other day, all right.
Every other day.
Okay, right. Thanks.
Okay, my dear. Thank you. Thanks for hanging in there. It's a lot of work, and we're proud of you for doing it.
It's my life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my life. I got to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. Very good, very good. Let's take our next caller, 602-666-6027, after we do a few questions from the chat line. And also, let me say, if you're on the line now and you've got a question and you want to come on to talk with Dr. Dean, hit *5 on your keypad. That will raise your hand in our studio and let us know you've got a question or comment. Otherwise, your phone remains on mute, and we can't put you on the line with Dr. Dean. Lots of callers this evening wanting to talk, I believe. Again, *5 on your keypad. Questions for you, Carolyn, coming through the chat line. what we've got a question about is coming in from Kim. If you had a abdominal hernia surgery and have a mesh, can you take Remag and Remite?
Yes, we have a lot of people who've had hernia surgeries. We've never heard any complaints. Our chemist says that the minerals don't interact in the body in that way. It's just like getting your Remag and Remite minerals from your food, so that shouldn't be a problem. The only time we tell people not to sort of rinse their mouth with the mineral liquid solution is if you have a lot of mercury fillings, which might start trying to clean up the mercury. So a hernia mesh is fine.
Okay, and also Marv asking that her sister overseas has been suffering with brain fog, and the doctors are not doing anything to address it. They're just asking her to get more exercise. So would Remag and Remite be helpful to someone with brain fog?
Well, the brain fog to me indicates yeast overgrowth. So I would look at yeast overgrowth, and certainly the Remag, Remite, and Realign are going to help detoxify yeast. So you can send her to drcarolyndeanlive.com to download my yeast book called Reset the Yeast Connection.
Very good. Excellent. And Kim says she's got digestive problems and cannot digest fat, carbs, or animal protein. Wow, that's very limiting, Kim. Dear, I'm sorry about that. So if you do have time, Kim, maybe call in and talk with Carolyn so I can pull this all together, because you're typing in a lot of questions. You're asking about abdominal hernias and taking Remag and Remite and then saying you've got the digestive problems with fat, carbs, or animal protein. So this is all related. Then Carolyn, still Remag and Remite would be fine, just starting with low doses, right?
Oh, yeah. With poor digestion, I mean, that can be the gallbladder being affected in some way. So, yeah, with that would be something, Kim, that either come on the show or write the details through customer service, and it'll get to me.
Right. Very good. Excellent. And then PCOS, Carolyn, what is that?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Where the ovaries develop cystic growth. The eggs every month don't recede. They just stay there, and then you get this, kind of pockmarked ovary.
Got it. Okay. And so are the minerals supportive for that kind of a program as well? Process?
Yeah,
situation?
I almost wrote a book on PCOS, and there's sort of a diabetic thing that can happen. There's a hormonal thing. There's, in my opinion, yeast overgrowth and mineral deficiencies. And probably my Future Health Now encyclopedia. It's 600 pages. It's on drcarolyndeanlive.com. Let's see if I have PCOS in the book. Oh my gosh, I don't. But I've done PCOS webinars, so a person could Google my name and PCOS and find out more.
Okay, I'm going to do it right now because I don't remember. I mean, I usually remember everything you say. It says Dr. Pete, page 20. I'm going to have to look at this. PCOS in the workplace. You've got something on there about that. And then what is this? You were asked to write a book about PCOS. You did it in a blog.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember where we talked about it in the in a webinar, PCOS in the workplace.
Oh, it was one of those. You remember when I did
summit.
Summits, yeah. And actually on our RNA Reset website, there's something from April 2019, Why is my hair falling out? That looks like an article I wrote at some point, and I talk about PCOS. Yeah, that's probably the best one. Just Google, Why is my hair falling out, and my name.
Okay, very good. So there's a book that you must do. We must pull together all these ideas.
Oh, no, please, not another book. I've got too many.
When we have scads of books and tons of material, we just can't settle for one article, Carolyn. Not one meager article. Yeah. Oh, dear. No, I'm just teasing you. You don't have to do a book. But it's good to, maybe we'll do it as a topic or something on our radio show to really summarize your thoughts about it, because it sounds pretty dynamic if you're talking about how diabetes and yeast and mineral deficiency and related to your cysts and little pock marks and things like that, and, you know, what's going on if it's a syndrome that a lot of women suffer from, and hair falling out. My gosh.
Right.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, back to our phone callers. Lovely, thank you for being on with us, wonderful people of the world. Great state of Illinois, area code 630-630. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Ginny. Hi, Dr. Dean. It's Victoria from Chicago. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Victoria. I was in Chicago last weekend.
I know. That was me on Facebook that said, you're in my hometown.
Yeah.
How did that go, the meeting with the NBA? That's big time.
It was huge time. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Huge time, yeah.
Yeah. I talked about it at the beginning of this show. Yeah, it's great, you know, letting the players know that there is hope for their mental health in magnesium. So it went very well. So what can I do for you today?
Super happy to hear that. 2 quick questions. And if you ever need help in Chicago, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm also a holistic nutritionist, but now I'm like putting everything truly to the test. Like this is where my real learning is coming from now, and it's fascinating, and I love it. So yeah, everything is coming along. I had the total body meltdown, and I'm on every single one of your products. Everything is going really, really well, steadily increasing with everything, as well as my healing. But I'm really trying to wrap my mind around this, and I can't really understand. So the magnesium is not supposed to have a laxative effect, and I was slowly going up to 2.5 teaspoons. I was fine, mixed in with my mineral water and the Remite. But as soon as I hit 3, I did have a laxative effect. Had to go back down, now working my way back up. So can you help me to understand exactly why that is and what's happening?
Everybody's different, Victoria. It can depend on, you know, how much your body needs and is utilizing, the state of the intestines, you know, tendency to a little bit of IBS. There's so many factors. So are you doing the sipping through the day intake of your Remag?
Well, not truly sipping. Like I do the liter, and then I pour like 6 4 or 5 ounce glasses, and I'll like maybe drink. It depends on like how much in a hurry I am. I maybe drink half of that, and then a half hour later another half. Sometimes I'll drink it all right down the 4 ounces or 5 ounces. But I do split it up like as much as I can, and I try to go as slow as I can. But I would not. I don't really sip though. No.
Right.
That's challenging. Yeah.
And in the beginning, it's. How long have you been on the protocol? Because yes, I see that you called in just in January. You've been on it 6 weeks, so you've been on like 10 weeks. So it's still early days, and it's like getting your body used to something that it hasn't had for a while. So if you have a day when you can do the sipping, and you know, people will ask us, well, what the heck does that mean? Well, if it's a liter you're using through the day, you divide that by the number of hours you're up, and then divide that even into every 15 minutes. do you do a mouthful every 15 minutes? And by not overwhelming the cells with, say, a quarter even to a half a teaspoon at one time, then it will be absorbed in, it'll be utilized through the mitochondria and do its work. But if you have a half teaspoon in one, few minute period, you can overwhelm the cells, and then the extra will go out through the intestine. And if the intestines are kind of sensitive, like I had mild IBS, and that's why no magnesium but Remag would help. But I guess I was so magnesium deficient that I never got close to a laxative effect until a year and a half.
Okay, I will consciously work on slowing it down, the intake.
And then the other thing that we'll send people an FAQ on, are you on enough fiber? Taking psyllium as a way to slow the intestines down a bit. So the psyllium seed powder will help hold on to your Remag longer just by bulking the intestines. So there's we probably have more in the FAQ. I can't remember everything we tell people. Probably not in your case, but there are cases of people who are on medication that cause diarrhea. So they'll take the Remag, and then the Remag along with the medication they'll get the laxative effect. And of course, when we say when you get the laxative effect, you're saturated, well, that's not true for a lot of cases, for cases of people who are toxic and the body's just trying to dump stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense to me. I did want to touch then on the psyllium husk since you brought that up. Is that psyllium seed husk or the psyllium husk? Because there's two different products.
Right. There's a husk that's, kind of a grainy, rough fiber, and there's the powder. If I buy husks by mistake, I'll blend it up in my high-speed blender, and the amount drops as it solidifies, not solidifies, but as the weight of the powder is heavier than the husks. We want the powder.
Oh, okay, I see. And my concern with that, because I did buy some and I started it a little bit, but it said that I need to increase my water intake, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I'm already having trouble with getting in enough water.
Yeah. Well, no, you're on enough water to be able to utilize the psyllium. Yeah, and all it does is it'll just cause a bit of constipation, and then you'll say, more water. But with people who are on my, half your body weight in ounces of water, you're getting enough water already. But that's a good question.
That's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, for clarifying. My very last thing is I have the Bartholin cyst, and you emailed me about that, and you told me to use the poultice. Yeah, the clay. And I want to know, which clay do you recommend, and how often should I do this?
Right. I have, who were they? Lil's magnetic clay. I have a whole supply of that, but it can be any clay from anywhere. I mean, you can go in the health food store and just find a clay, a green clay or gray.
I have that Indian earth or something about Indian clay.
Yes, I've seen that too. That's fine, and then mix it up with your Pico Silver. A teaspoon of Pico Silver. If you need more liquid, just use water, and just put that on. I mean, personally, where Bartholin cyst is in the genital region, I would just put it on, tie it down with something, a tight pair of underwear or whatever, and put a sheet under you, sort of a plasticized sheet, and just go to bed with it on. And then showered off in the morning. But I think someone called in, no, it was last week, someone reported that a Bartholin cyst that surgery was performed on but wasn't healing and looked like it was getting infected, they did clay and pico silver, and it cleared it right up.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so when you say, what do I put it on to adhere, what's that kind of cloth or something, like a little bit of a small wash rag or something?
Or, people use
gauze.
Oil will use flannel. Gauze,
I've seen that.
Right. Gauze would seep through. So and you want to make it like a dough. It's not going to be liquid, too runny or anything. It's going to be like a circle of dough, and you put it on, and you put a flannel on, and then put a tight pair of underwear on.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'll be starting tonight. I got everything.
Oh, exciting.
I didn't know. That helps tremendously. Woo! All right, thanks a million. Love you so much.
Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate your call. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh, what a sweetheart. Yeah, she's a very precious, precious person. Yeah, we just know she's going to be so wonderful with everything she's doing. Excellent.
Well, I mean,
let's go out to area code 732. Oh, sorry.
Hang on. Am I muted? No. Okay. Yes. Let me just say that Victoria, when she called, 6 weeks, what did she say? She had so many symptoms, Jenny. She had injured the bottom of her foot. She had a Morton's neuroma and plantar fasciitis, and she wasn't able to walk on her bare feet. She had spinal stenosis, peripheral neuropathy, constipation, hypothyroid for 5 to 10 years, frozen shoulder, fatty liver, varicose veins, bones felt crumbly, eye issues, floaters, metabolic issues, oxalate toxicity. And she's telling us now that she's doing better, and she now wants to focus on this Bartholin cyst. So it's really cool. And you heard her say she's a holistic nutritionist. When she gets done with this, she'll be telling everybody about her products. She can carry our products and sell them, for Pete's sakes. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very, very wonderful. It's very wonderful. And the body is miraculous. Our products are the both building blocks, and they're just so powerfully constructed. And when people put those two things together, great things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. Great things are going to happen. Absolutely. Wonderful people. Okay, area code 732-732, great state of New Jersey. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. Welcome back. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Dr. Dean. Hi, Jenny. It's Diana again. I hope you guys are doing well.
Oh, yes.
Do you hear me?
Absolutely. Yep,
okay,
go
great.
ahead.
I have two questions. I finally was able to increase my Remag to 3 teaspoons, and I'm really doing well, which is great because usually when I try to increase it, I would get diarrhea, but now it looks like things are working really, really well. So I wanted to ask you, I know we, in the documentation and also when I've talked to Doug, he says you just need to get yourself saturated. I wanted to ask, since I'm taking the 3 teaspoons now, do I still need to try to eventually get to 4 teaspoons? And how do I know when I'm saturated, actually? That's the first question.
How long have you been on, and what products are you on, first of all, Diana?
Okay, I'm taking the Remag, and then I'm adding to my 5-cup bottle. I think it's a liter bottle. I'm adding the Remag, 3 teaspoons. I'm adding 1.5 teaspoons of Remite, and then I'm also taking the Realign. Now, I finally was able to increase the Realign to 2 capsules. So I'm taking 2 capsules of that a day.
Okay. So not the Restructure and not the RNA Reset drops?
Yes, I don't take those at all.
Okay. So how are you feeling? That's the next question, because it's guided by how you're feeling.
Okay, I feel fine. It's just that, I have osteoporosis, and it's at a pretty severe level, and they want to put me on, I forget what the drug is called, but they want to put me on this crazy drug, which I'll have to take every 6 months. I would have to get a shot. So I'm trying to avoid going that route. That's why I'm trying to actually try to increase my Remag as quickly as I can. But now that I finally got to 3, I'm really happy, because before I would get the diarrhea effect, but now it looks like I guess I'm ready.
Right. And are you getting your 600 milligrams of calcium in your diet?
Yes, I'm getting it in my diet, and then I'm also getting it by consuming this bovine collagen. Now, I had asked you about that before, and so what I did was I called the company, and they said to me that they don't add anything to their collagen powder. It's all pure, and the calcium that's indicated on the nutritional label is actually what I'm getting. However, of course, you and I both know that it's elemental calcium needs to be taken into account. So I just don't know. It looks like I'm putting it in.
It's a food calcium, Diana, so it's pretty well absorbed. That's why I tell people to try to get your 600 milligrams of calcium from food. I know myself, if I eat a lot of yogurt, I buy a whole quart and I eat it in a couple of days, I will have to take more Remag because I lose my Remag to the calcium. So I know it's being absorbed. Oh. Yeah. Okay. What's your exercise program?
For exercise, I'm doing the treadmill for a short amount of time, like 10 minutes, and then I'm lifting weights.
Okay. And how do you feel?
I feel pretty well. I don't really feel like I have a bone deficiency, but obviously all my test results have indicated that I have senile osteoporosis, which is really, it sounds really serious to me.
Yeah, and that's the whole rub of this whole business of measuring bone density, because you can find this on the medical sites. They measure our 60 and 70-year-old bones and compare them to 30-year-old bones, and then tell us that we're less than. So that's the rub, because who's to say that your bones, I don't believe in aging, but your bones are going to be different, and that's why we have to do the exercise. I think you should do even more exercise, because part of keeping your bones healthy and preventing fractures is that your muscles are strong, your balance is good. I want you to do yoga. I want you to stand on one foot and be able to do that for a minute at a time, so that you will never fall over and crack something. I've had a lot of falls over the years, rollerblading and bicycling and whatever. And every time I fall, I say, this is great. I didn't break anything. So, we just keep ourselves, strong and confident, and don't get abused by these tests that tell us how deficient we are. It's, I don't know exactly what your bones are like, but if you feel that your bones are strong, then they're strong. And it's the muscles that keep the bones strong as we get older. When a person starts to sort of feel, I'm dizzy, I'm disoriented, I can't keep my balance, then you start feeling that, I'm unsafe on my feet, and you put yourself into this quandary of, maybe I'll fall and break something, and then it's almost attracting it. And that's what we're told. We're given that story, by everything around us, TV shows, movies, and doctors. So you just create an environment in yourself where you are strong and powerful. And I'd say start the RNA reset drops, even if you're just taking 2 drops twice a day, because they help a person's detachment from being politicized about their health. That sounds extreme, but RNA drops are very helpful to detach you and make you joyful rather than getting too caught up with the negative of getting older and getting sicker. There's no way. At 70 years old, I feel healthier than when I was in my 30s.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's really good.
Yeah,
that's really great. Well, I'm 61 now, and everyone says I look a lot younger. But the thing is, I don't feel as strong, and so that's why I started to lift more weights. And I have been doing yoga. I have been doing yoga for like a couple of years now. So, and I can actually stand. I can do the tree pose for about 3 minutes. I can hold it in each leg for 3 minutes. So I think my balance is fairly good, But I'm always concerned because every time I go see my doctors in New York, they all say, you need to get on these drugs, and I'm trying to not do that because I will need to be on them for the rest of my life, they say.
Right, and they create brittle bones. People who take these drugs break their bones sooner, and maybe to get that negative out of you, you could have a consultation with Dr. David Holt, who does the total biology, because they talk about osteoporosis in total biology is just being made to feel less than, devaluation. And, the whole business about going into a doctor's office is devaluation. So they just add to the conflict of osteoporosis. It's
very
incredible.
true. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's really sad, and especially when they see I'm pretty, I'm not heavy, so the fact that I don't have a lot of mass really, they look at me and they say, oh my gosh, you really are you're prone to breaking a bone. So you got to be careful. You got to go on these drugs so you can make your bones stronger. But it's a vicious cycle. But okay, so I appreciate that. So in other words, keep taking the 3 teaspoons, and then should I keep going until I get to 4? Because I know you were at 4. Should I try to get to 4?
I don't think so. I mean, that's why I was asking about the calcium. Now you're balancing your magnesium, your multiple minerals with the remite, and your calcium in your food and the bone broth, and you're doing your exercise. You're doing everything you can. So you should be fine.
Okay, so now I'll continue this protocol and then continue to evaluate and get myself retested, so that way I can at least see where I stand. Okay.
Right.
One other question. Go ahead. Yeah.
Look up about the RNA reset drops, because I think that would be very helpful, because you have to have something to counteract what the doctors are trying to tell you. Because see, all they can do, Diana, is give drugs. So they think, I know. Help Diana. Oh, maybe if she takes this drug, and it's just so sad because they don't consider any alternatives. Okay, your last question?
Okay, my last question is regarding my daughter's lymph node. I've been following the protocol that you had suggested, and then I actually last week, since there was really no show, but I thought there was a new show last week, I was trying to ask a question, and then I decided to call Doug. And Doug, at customer service, said to me that I should add a teaspoon of Remac to the mix that you had recommended. And so we've been doing that. So the thing is that the solution now is really liquidy, so I keep adding more of the clay. Should I just eliminate adding the water and just keep it? Because you're saying it. I know when you were talking to the young lady before, you said it had to be like a gel consistency.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the one you cut back on is the water, because that's not going to be as dynamic as the silver and the Remag.
Okay, all right. So, and as long as it should be really thick then, the mixture.
Well, it's hard for it's just not runny. It's something that will kind of stick to the area and not just fall right off. So you just have to judge what that looks like. It's very hard for me to describe it. Yeah.
Okay, now that seems to now it seems to be a lot clearer. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so very much. You are such a godsend, and I want to thank you and Ginny and the team. Your team is absolutely outstanding. They're such a great people to work with. So I want to thank you again.
Oh, thank you, and that's wonderful that you gave a shout out there to Doug. He is awesome.
Oh, he is. He's amazing. Awesome. He's very knowledgeable too.
Yep.
Very knowledgeable. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much again. Have a great night.
Okay, Diana. Bye-bye.
So long.
Okay, excellent, wonderful contribution. I'm sure a lot of our listeners will appreciate hearing that segment because so many women are mystified and challenged about osteoporosis and what that diagnosis is and what it means and how to respond to it. So very, very valuable segment. Thank you. Carolyn, are you there?
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Okay, very good. Oh, okay, you're waiting. Wonderful. I want to let you know I was over on our YouTube feed, and it's just so much fun that we have wonderful people all over the world chit-chatting on our YouTube channel, including those from New Brunswick, Canada, and also a very lovely listener from Kuwait. And she's talking about trying to order the Total Body Reset from Amazon. But, yes, it's not available. You're not going to be able to get it on Amazon, but you can do it from RNA Reset, Elma. And if you get stuck getting the service there to your country, just email support@rnareset.com and ask them to forward your email to me, and I will help you take care of it because we want you to be able to get the products in your country for sure. I think it should be an option for you. So let us know how we can support you. But Amazon's not the ticket, not for Kuwait. No, wouldn't happen that way. You'd have to go direct from our website. Okay, Carolyn, I think we're caught up with our caller. 602-666-6027 is the number to call this evening. Plenty of time still to talk to Dr. Dean in the show. I think we've got about 20 minutes left if you want to call in. And, very good. Other callers wanting to touch base with you this evening. And then let's see, what else do we want to talk about after we take these phone calls? We'll have to think of what else is on our very...
I have testimonials, so there's...
Oh, testimonials.
No problem there. Yes.
No problem there. Very good. All right. Let's pop up to the great state of Virginia, area code 703. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Dean and Ginny. How are you? This is Carol from Virginia. We've spoken before about my yeast situation. And so I have many questions, some about the yeast. And today I went to my periodontist because I've been having periodontal issues for many years. He wants to do another one of those surgeries again, and I don't want to do that. And I told him I think I can, I can clear the area with silver, and I think taking minerals will help my teeth and my bones. Am I making the right assumption, or will the minerals do that for my periodontal issues?
They should. We have a lot of reports back from customers, Carol, that their enamel actually improves. They fill in little nicks and cavities once they start the Remag and Remite, and certainly with the Pico Silver, that helps keep bacteria under control, that create the plaque. I know when I had some dental work, I rinsed that area, I held Pico Silver and Remag in my mouth, and my periodontist had said I might have pain in that area for months, and of course I had no pain. And the minerals make our teeth, so yes, they are important.
Yeah, well, when I told my periodontist that today, he said, I have no evidence that the minerals will make any difference, but if you want to go ahead and do it, go ahead and do it. So I just want to make sure I am on the right track. Now, when you say you take the pico silver and the magnesium, do you mix the two of them together and then just hold it in your mouth and then spit the rest out? Is that what you do?
No, then I swallow it. Then I swallow it. I don't want to waste it. And
well, is there any danger of taking pico silver every day indefinitely? Because that's probably something I'd have to do with periodontal issues.
Right. There is no problem with taking it daily. Carol, you can go to drcarolyndeanlive.com and download my booklet on the pico silver. The pico silver is a mineral that the body requires. They just haven't studied it enough yet. And it helps support stem cell production. It helps with wound healing. It helps with just, the ordinary body chemistry. So I take a teaspoon every day. I really think it's important. And, some people say, well, is it killing off good and bad bacteria? Well, in my booklet, I describe a study where it doesn't kill off the good bacteria. It will keep yeast in check. And some people say, well, you don't want to kill off too many yeast. Well, every day we're eating yeast. Every day we're eating carbohydrates that help create the yeast. So I think there's a good balance if a person just takes a teaspoon of the pico silver every day. I really do.
Okay. I know silver is wonderful because I once had an infection from a burn. I spilled some boiling water on my foot. And they gave me a prescription for that because it got infected. But the long story and short story was I took silver and it cleared it up with not having to take the antibiotics. But
Carol, let me just further to the pico silver. My favorite use of pico silver, I mix it with Remag and I spray it under my armpits for deodorant.
Okay,
and it works.
Well, the way I've been doing it for years is rubbing vinegar or apple cider vinegar on my armpits, and I get the same results. I've been doing that one for years. Yeah.
So you smell like a salad. Okay.
I do.
Smell like
Yeah. If I raise my arm up, you better look out. You might want to take out a fork.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other issue that came up is X-rays. And as you know, dentists and periodontists are all in love with X-rays, which I'm not in love with. So I'm always trying to get them not to have to take an X-ray. So he wanted to take some X-rays today, and we were talking about it, and the hygienist said, have you tried a homeopathic X-ray? I said, I didn't even know they made homeopathic X-ray. So,
yes, I was just looking it up for you because, that's what I was going to recommend. There is homeopathic X-ray, and you can.
And I said that sounds like a wonderful solution because, I'm assuming that it it cancels all the effects of the X-ray, or at least some of the effects.
Apparently it does. Yeah, apparently it does. I mean, these days the X-rays in the more modern offices, they say that they're much less, and I stopped fighting with them, and I use a homeopathic X-ray. And I'm just trying to I've had it for so long, I forget where I got it. Did they tell you?
No, they didn't. They didn't know themselves. They said to me when I find out to tell them. The hygienist said she had heard somebody had taken that, and the light went off in my head. I said, of course, homeopathic. I didn't know they made it.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. My my favorite company, homeopathic company, Boiron, Biron. I found X-Ray 30C. There's a website called Pure Formulas. So you could just Google X-Ray 30 Boiron, and you'll find, I don't know, maybe Amazon even has it. So,
yeah, Amazon does have it. I've looked that up already. But my question concerning
you're way ahead of me. Stop. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. In the taking of the homeopathic pills, they have sugar in them, and I'm on this yeast-free, sugar-free diet. So now I have another conundrum to deal with.
Well, what people do there, Carol, is you put the 3 pellets, which is a dose, put that in like an ounce of water, and just wiggle that around a little bit, because the way those are lactose pellets, so they're milk sugar pellets, so that may be not such a problem as the sucrose pellet. But they spray the remedy on the outside of the pellet. It's not within the pellet, as far as I know. And so you can just release it by putting it in liquid and just drink that liquid. Or just not worry about the lactose. Just hold them under, the 2 or 3 pellets under your tongue until they dissolve, and it won't get to your gut. So maybe the second option is best. Okay?
Just let them dissolve under the tongue, but that's not going to make the yeast problem any worse?
If it's not getting to your gut, it should not be feeding the yeast.
If it's just staying in my mouth?
Yep. It's absorbed, through the bloodstream, not getting to your gut. And it's such a tiny amount. I mean, you could make a dose 1 pellet and still get the effect, because, homeopathy is so infinitesimally diluted.
So would it make sense to get a stronger dosage instead of taking 3 pellets, take a stronger dosage of 1 pellet?
It doesn't really work that way. It's just so infinitesimally diluted. And the third, I'm trying to find an X-ray 30, and I'm not. I'm just finding a 12C. So let me. I'm not finding an X-ray 30. You would get the X-ray. There's a 200. Okay, if you got a 200, then you would just take 2 doses a week.
Maybe 2 pellets a week?
Yeah.
2 pellets a week. So that would cut down the lactose, the amount of lactose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
200 is not too strong a dose?
No, and that's why you just take it. Around an X-ray, 2 doses of Boiron X-ray 200. Anytime you get an X-ray, 2 doses, and I say separate them by a few days. Okay, Carol, you got that?
You would you would take them after you have the X-ray or before?
You could take one before and one after, because, the X-ray remedy will help, kind of antidote X-rays you've had in the past.
Okay.
I'm buying mine right now. I'm buying a 200 right now, because I just had some dental X-rays and I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Are you done?
Oh, no, I wasn't. I wanted to ask you one quick thing about the, I'm basically doing a keto diet now because of this. Because of the yeast issue, and so I'm not a heavy person, but I'm losing weight, and I don't really want to lose weight.
Right.
So I know it has to do with the fat consumption, and I'm reading that I have to increase my fats but how much do I increase them? And then the second part of that question is, since I lost a lot of fat, I lost it from my legs, and that because I lost a lot of fat on my legs, they got wrinkly.
Yeah.
So my question is, if I start eating fat again, will those wrinkles go away?
I don't know. I have no idea, but maybe not. But yes, it is fat. It is avocados and olives and heavy whipping cream and all that business. And as for how much you eat as much as you can to be able to gain the weight.
So, I mean, like how much does that, I don't understand that in proportion to how much protein I'm eating. So is it like,
I can't. I don't have time to go into that, and I'm not really conversant on that. I think you'd have to go to a keto website. On my, do I talk about keto on my weight loss book? But you don't want that. You want weight gain. So I haven't written about weight gain. So I think the best thing is to Google how do I gain weight on keto diet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr.
You're
Dean.
welcome.
And,
okay, Carol. Thank you.
We appreciate your being out there for us.
Thank you very much. I love being here. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye now.
Okay, Carolyn, take it away.
Okay, testimonials. Let's get them done. Someone says, Pico Silver is the only thing that takes my husband's yearly cough away. He doesn't like supplements, but is sold on this. That's from Cheryl. Another one, I've been applying Remag to my skin 1 teaspoon per day for 2 weeks. No change in my AFib yet, but 2 other interesting changes. I've had golfer's elbow in my right arm for over a year and a half. He was trying to reduce what he did with his arm, but when he applied Remag, he rubbed it into the right elbow. After about a week, the dull, constant ache is completely gone. And he also says, as a child and even a young adult, I was always a sound sleeper. That all changed when I developed digestive issues. Dreaded trying to get to sleep. Noticed an improvement within a few days of starting Remag. The last 2 nights, my sleep has been very sound. So that's awesome. Next one, I currently take 2 teaspoons Remag, 1 Remite, 1 Reline capsule per day, use the Restructure 5 times a week. I'm 56 years old, take no prescription drugs. I've heard your listeners talk about Remag helping the thyroid. So I answered this and I said, Remag does, but it's mostly Remite with the 9 minerals that support thyroid function. But she said her thyroid antibodies have gone down taking the Remag and Remite. And they've helped to eliminate plantar fasciitis, heel spurs, eyelid twitching, heart palpitations, and improved her eyesight. And she says with her Remag water, she puts in lemon for the taste and liquid cayenne. Now, you have to be careful with putting lemon in your water because lemon is acidic and it can affect your dental enamel. So people who do lemon do have to rinse their mouth with just your plain sea salted water afterwards. Another testimonial, one of my ears no longer becomes swollen or infected if I wear an earring for more than a day. That's been going on for 2 decades. So that's gone. My ankles are less swollen. They started to swell occasionally in my late 50s over a year ago when my AFib kicked in. Her ankles would swell up every day. And she said, I can envision the time when this will no longer be a problem. And 2 weeks ago, I started feeling in general wonderful health, except for anxiety about her AFib, and I think it's a her. And I'm walking much taller. I've even started jogging a little on the treadmill, something I couldn't do up until a week ago. My hair is no longer dropping out at the alarming rate it used to. I wish I'd found your products years ago. So everybody refer your practitioner so people won't have to suffer. Next one, I've been on all your products for about 5 months and feeling better than I have in years. Currently on my second yeast detox, so I know I will improve even more as time goes on. So, Ginny, you have the last minute all to yourself.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that was just a magical show. We got so much territory covered and really great topics discussed. So once again, thank you to everybody who joined in tonight. And for those who didn't have an opportunity to deal directly or talk directly with Dr. Dean, do not forget questions, questions, at drcarolyndeanlive.com is a way to get your information to her and have her respond. And also our customer support team is absolutely fantastic, including Lisa, Megan, Doug, Julie, Lisa, Melody Rose, Corinne, our new weekend person, so many wonderful people all there working for you 24/7 to make sure that you get the support you need. We're very happy with our customer service team. We never say enough about them. We couldn't possibly say everything that needs to be said, but they're just wonderfully delightful people committed to Dr. Dean and committed to you as well. So please access them as you need to and let them support you as they are wont to do.
Yes, and join our grassroots health study. We want to fine-tune your world.
That's right.
Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Carolyn. Wonderful show.
Thank you, Bill.
Wonderful guests.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful, Mrs. Rex. Wonderful.
Everything's fine, Bob. There's nothing.
You're all doing very well. You're all doing very well. 98 years old.
For questions about today's show, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
Dad, don't bring that into the house. It's going to change the whole family structure. It's going to change the neighborhood. Already a bunch of people in the neighborhood have TV, and I can see the effects on my peers.
We'll continue after this.
I warned him it's going to create a separation and create a Berlin Wall in the family. It's going to make my sister become a different kind of person. It's going to make me become a different kind of person. I'll lose my interest in hockey. I'll get into drugs. Nobody thinks all this when I was a kid, but you couldn't understand that.